thank you for joining us. I'm Helen Burton, your host for Skyrocket Your Business. And we have Socrates, our owl, who gives us wisdom. And I just want to remind you of my book, Skyrocket Your Business, in 30 days while having coffee with Helen. But make sure you have the coffee. I want to tell you a little story. I went to a restaurant a couple of months ago, and I love this place. And when you walk in, you get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and everybody stands around and you talk to one another. And I happened to stand next to this woman, and we started talking, and I loved what she was doing. And I said to her, will you be on my show so everyone can hear about, your project? And she said, of course. So I just want to, remind you that if you're standing in line at a coffee shop or a supermarket, or you don't have to go to a networking event to meet people, all you have to do is smile. And then everyone starts talking. So we have two very special guests today. We have Joan Portman, who is the founder and coordinator of the Healing Environments program at St. Mary's Center in Langham, Pennsylvania, which she began in 2008, following the death of her beloved father-in-law. And we have Bob Pierson, who is a volunteer in the Healing Environment program. And Joan is the woman I met at the restaurant. So welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you're here today to join us. So Joan, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, well, yes, I started the program back in 2008, but besides that, I am the wife and soulmate of Ron for 42 years now.
Great.
And we are blessed with three wonderful children, Wendy, Shayna, and Zach.
Oh, great.
And three, soon to be four wonderful grandsons.
Oh, how exciting.
And two lovely, my son-in-law now, Giora, who's married to Wendy, and Carly, who's married to Zach. And they're expecting their first very, very shortly.
Oh, that's great.
It's very exciting.
It really is, yeah.
And I'm a friend and mentor to many of the volunteers, not only in my part of the division, but also throughout the hospital. And had a career 30 years in interior design, and I am an ongoing student of feng shui.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's so peaceful, feng shui. Someone came in and they fixed my bedroom.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's so peaceful in there.
Yes.
It really is. It does make a difference. So, Bob, why don't you tell us a little about you?
Sure, Helen. It's amazing how much Joan and I have in common. I've been married 42 years also to my wife, Betty, and we have three grown children, two who are celebrating their birthdays this weekend, and two wonderful grandchildren. And they're all close by.
Oh,
so
that's
they're very
terrific.
close.
Lucky,
They're right in the neighborhood practically. So, and on the professional side, 43 years in human resources in various organizations, including here at Princeton University for 2 really good years. So it's nice to be back. Drove around the campus a little bit this morning before I came here.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for coming.
Yes.
And Joan, what inspired you to create the Healing Environments program?
Well, this man, front and center in this photograph right here with his family, is my dear sweet father-in-law. And in 1999, he developed brain cancer, which presented as paralysis down his whole right side.
Wow.
And he was living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at the time. We brought him to Houston, and he was treated there. He fought for 9 months, but he passed away in 2000, May of 2000.
Sorry.
And yes, I was blessed to be, I and my husband were his primary caregivers during that time, and a gift I would never have asked for.
Right.
But out of that has come the inspiration for the Healing Environments program. I brought him a beautiful Afghan that my mother-in-law had made, who passed away 2 years prior to this. We had this photograph facing outward next to his bed. And sitting there day after day with him, I can tell you many, many times the staff took the opportunity to talk with him about his family so that they had a human-to-human connection before they discussed whatever the staff had come to discuss. I brought in a beautiful and amazing orchid plant that bloomed the whole 11 weeks that he was hospitalized. And the staff would turn from his bed and then see this orchid sitting there so unexpectedly. And they're in the hospital too, 8 to 12-hour shifts. And so they would just stand there and drink in its beauty. And when he could get up again and start walking with the walker, I brought his slippers. He had very bad feet, and his pajamas and his robe, so he would have dignity walking down the hall.
How beautiful. It really is.
That was the inspiration for the Healing Environments program.
Oh, I'm so glad that you pursued it. It's really
I was angry with
thing.
God, but here's the silver lining.
Exactly, yeah. And you, Bob, how did you get involved in the program?
Well, I go way back, and I think about my father's passing back in 2002 in Virginia, and he died of mesothelioma. And with given 6 months to live, and 3 months later he passed. But the last week was in hospice, and that was our first experience with that. And I think back to his final days, and how the family gathered together, and how the hospice professionals really helped us through that time, and it stayed with me. And so spring forward, and I've never forgotten that, and I think about what can I do and how could I pursue a program like that. And so I looked at St. Mary's, which I have a lot of really fond memories from and affection, and they had a program, and so the more I looked into it, I found out they had a couple of areas where I could volunteer, but that was the springboard, and so now I'm able to give back. I always look for how can I possibly give back to patients who need it, whether they're just sick or whether they're on their final days. And I found it with St. Mary's.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Thank you, both of you. I was a member of my family had surgery there around 3 years ago. And I remember we walked outside and there was a garden.
The Healing Garden.
The Healing Garden, and we just walked around the garden. And we just felt so much better. And thank God he was okay. It was, a minor thing, but, but just sitting there and waiting, it was.
And of course you're worrying.
Of course, Joan, please tell us about the journey you had in establishing this program.
It's been quite a journey. Well, after my father-in-law's passing, I was telling some of my friends about what I had done in his room to uplift the energy, not only for him, but for the staff who came in. And they said, oh, you should go and talk to the presidents. Houston has a huge medical community, and the hospitals are like right next to each other, and a lot of competition, of course. So I tried. I presented it to CEOs and presidents of various institutions there, including MD Anderson, and they really didn't get it. God, I can just tell you, had other plans. And so fast forward 7 years, and my husband, after being pediatric nephrologist for 30, decided he wanted to go into the pharmaceutical industry and help build the pediatric programs there, which he did, and was hired by Bristol Myers Squibb and moved us here. And I didn't know a soul, but we had a power outage in my neighborhood, and I went next door to see my neighbor, and we started talking, and then the neighbor next door and the neighbor behind, and we were all just visiting. And she said, I want to invite you all to a luncheon in the fall, but please be thinking in the meantime about your goals and dreams. And I said, I can tell you right now. So I started telling them about this healing environments idea. And Ricky said, oh, you need to go to St. Mary. They have the healing gardens. And I did. I went. I walked around. I looked. I saw volunteers and staff offered to help me find my way. And I said, no, I'm just visiting and wandering. And I really liked the way it felt. And obviously people were friendly and outgoing. And so I picked up a volunteer application. and met with the director and the assistant director to tell them about the program.
Right.
And they liked it, they got it, they wanted it.
Right.
So I took the volunteer training in November of '07.
Mm-hmm.
By January, we were sending out the letters of introduction telling about the program and what we were trying to achieve.
Right.
By March of '08, this is this community, this giving, generous community.
Right.
We had stockpiled 300 Afghans
Oh my God.
from the crafters in the community.
Wow.
That's how quickly. First of all, St. Mary's Medical Center reputation is so wonderful, and it is such a wonderful place to be if you have to be in a hospital.
Right.
But the community is so generous and wanting to give back
Right.
and wanting to do for others. And there we are. By May, we had 500. And
Wow.
we started with one cart.
Yeah.
And we would take the items to the oncology unit to start with
Right.
because of my sweet father-in-law, Harry.
Right.
And we would go into the patient rooms and offer
Right.
them the comfort items.
Oh my goodness. And what are
Yes.
some of the comfort items?
Yes,
that-
I have some wonderful
All
samples
right.
here.
Oh, good. Good.
Show and tell.
All right.
And Bob's going to tell you about his experience with one of them.
Okay.
But I'll start off with this lovely, lovely
Oh,
Afghan.
that's beautiful.
The St. Mary Medical Center was started by the Sisters of St. Francis in Philadelphia
Okay.
in the latter part of the 1800s. And as it grew, we gradually moved to our current location in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. But Sister Barbara is the chaplain in the ICU and the CCU, as well as other units, and she recently brought in this beautiful Afghan that she made.
Oh, that is
Beautiful, beautiful workmanship. And
Oh,
it's
good.
I can't spread it all out, but it's
Yeah.
large enough to cover an adult. Our focus
Right.
is adults,
Right.
head, toe to about mid-chest.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And yeah, beautiful,
Oh.
beautiful work.
Yeah.
And it comes with this blessing card. May God's grace be upon this Afghan, warming, comforting, enfolding, and embracing. May this mantle be a safe haven, a sacred place
Right.
of security and well-being, sustaining and embracing in good times as well as difficult ones. May the one who receives this Afghan be cradled in hope, kept in joy, graced with peace, and wrapped in love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, boy.
So anyone
Yes.
who's in the room, we stand
Right.
around the patient, we spread out the blanket,
Right.
and with beige walls, you can imagine how a colorful Afghan
Right.
transforms the energy in the room.
Right. And I know that we were talking, and you were saying that you also have family bring in pictures.
We do.
Do.
We
Yeah.
do. These pictures were next to my father-in-law's bedside, and so often the staff would come in and ask him about his grandchildren.
Okay. Right.
His face would light up, and
Right.
obviously it would take his mind off of his troubles for a little
Right.
bit. And
Yes.
then they would talk to him about the business at hand.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they took advantage of that quite often. So I
Right.
highly encourage, if you have a loved one in a hospital, in a nursing
Right, so-
facility, anywhere, help tell their story by
Right.
bringing in the family. And the staff know this person has support.
Right.
They
yeah.
are loved and supported.
Yeah.
Bob's going to tell you about
Okay.
his experience.
Okay.
I've had two experiences myself where I have been part of being a patient
Oh,
at St.
okay.
Mary's. And so I can mix both sides, being the volunteer in the red coat. We all wear the red coats.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
spot us easily around the hospital. And being a patient. And back in 2010, I went through with the cancer treatment center there and turned out very well.
Good.
And I called them, I was there for 13 weeks
Wow.
every day. And I called them my little angels.
Oh,
And they
okay.
were. I still
Yeah.
think of them that way.
Right.
And then recently, I was in the hospital at St. Mary's last summer for a pretty tough situation. And during that time, you know, I had family there and friends and
right.
caregivers, and
Right.
everybody was so good. But I see someone in a red coat walk in, and they say, "What can we do to help you?" And I said, "Man, I really need one of those neck pillows." So I got
yeah.
a neck pillow. This is
Oh.
this is a game changer.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it makes such a difference. So along with the
Yeah.
Afghans and magazines and crossword
Right.
puzzles and CDs and the opportunity to pray and things like that.
Right.
You get something like this, a little bit goes a long way.
Right.
And I had just been in my first time as a volunteer probably a month before that.
Right.
So I walked around with someone, an experienced person,
Right.
learned how to go and address the patients and so
Right.
forth. The next thing you know, here I am.
Right.
But I remember seeing that person in a red coat come in and I think, I know what you're doing.
Right, 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 right.
And it's just, it was such a comfort for that to have them come in.
Yeah.
So now as I go back on a regular basis and work with Joan and the team there,
Right.
and to be able to lend comfort to somebody, it's even more meaningful than it was before.
Right. Yeah. It's a really something. It's really great. So what are you?
Show the other one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
different
We
styles.
try to bring a smile,
Oh, okay.
a
All
little
right.
fun and levity,
Yes. Yeah.
And we have
as well
these-
as comfort.
And these
Okay.
are especially for the veterans. We have
Oh,
blankets
okay.
and
These.
neck pillows for the veterans.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's very good. So, what are some of the departments that you make the Afghans for, or
They
Yeah,
go
tell-
throughout the entire hospital now.
Okay.
The word has spread. The doctors know. The nurses know. They'll call down and they'll say, "Do you have any of the neck roll pillows?
Right.
We could use 5 or 6 of them."
Yeah. Yeah.
On the ICU unit, where somebody might have a tracheotomy,
Right.
or have various other things where the neck has to be supported and
Right.
held still. The nurses love to have these
That's
available.
really
Some are
great.
soft, some are a little bit firmer.
Yeah.
We try
Yeah.
to give them like a pillow, like
Right,
an
yes.
option.
Yeah.
Bob mentioned the blankets, and this is a fleece blanket, which children can make. This is the way we wrap it.
Okay.
This Veteran Appreciation Program started last March.
Okay.
And we have this wristlet which says, "Thank you for your military service, St.
Oh.
Mary Medical Center."
Okay.
And when they are when they're doing the intake form,
Yeah.
it is for inpatients only.
Oh.
They are asked if they are active duty or a veteran.
Oh.
And if they say yes, then they go on a special list, which we get in the office every day.
Okay.
And these are then delivered to them, one or the other. They can choose whichever
Oh.
one they want.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that I volunteer my services, and what joy it is. It's like you just feel like you're doing something
You
special.
get back. Yeah, you
Yeah,
get.
you really do,
Mhm.
and what a great thing. It
Mhm.
really is.
Yeah.
They get
I-
great.
Thank you.
They get great care from the caregivers that are there.
Right.
But I tell them when I go into a room, I think we all do, we're on the non-medicine side. I
Right,
don't,
yeah.
I don't do the medicine portion, but what else can we do to help
Help
you?
you.
And sometimes
Right.
it's reading a sports page to someone.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just talking for a few minutes. Sometimes it's
Right.
reading scripture.
Uh-huh.
It depends on the patient and what they need at that time.
Right, yeah. When my husband was in the hospital, he was in a coma, and somebody, I don't know who told me, but to bring in music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and he loved classical music,
Mm-hmm.
and he had on a thumb drive his that he listened to in his computer.
Yeah.
So we brought in the laptop and we brought in the thumb drive, and the music was playing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I said to one of the doctors, "Does he hear?" And he said, "Yes."
Yes, we assume
Yeah.
they can.
Yeah,
Till
yes.
the very end.
That's right. And so it it gives you like peace that you're doing a little something.
Right.
It
Right.
really is.
Helen, you asked what units we go into.
Yes.
And our focus is on adult patients whose children might live very far away, and they're probably saying, "Oh, I'm not that sick. I don't want them to disrupt their lives and come to me."
Right. Yeah.
So they may not have many visitors.
Uh-huh.
So we try to remember them. But we do also make things for the youngest patients in the hospital, and those are baby items.
Oh my God.
And
It's so tiny.
one of the sad things is that not all babies are born alive. Not all babies make it. This is what we call a bereavement. Well, it's a little sack, but
Yeah.
the baby is placed in here,
Right.
and here's a little tiny cap that would be put on their heads.
Oh boy.
And even if it's a stillbirth,
Right.
The baby is then presented to the family so that they can hold the baby.
Oh my God.
If they choose, it's their
Yes,
choice.
Right.
But instead of wrapping, the nurses wrapping the baby in a towel, which is the way they used to have to present them,
Yeah.
the crafters now make these beautiful,
Oh my God.
beautiful items for the angel babies, is what
Oh
we
my
call them.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
how
weren't quite ready to
beautiful.
leave their angel status.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Oh,
So we do try to give to all of the needs.
right. Oh, I keep saying thank you for what you're doing. Okay. Bob, being a volunteer, how has it impacted your life?
Well, I'm able to have more empathy. You can't totally empathize with everybody, but it makes a difference now having especially been on the other side.
Right.
I mean, the program that's put together is very thorough to even get into to being a volunteer. I thought I'd just walk in and start volunteering.
Right.
No.
No.
You gotta want it.
It takes a long time. It's a lot of work. There's a lot
Yeah.
of training. So when you go in that patient's room for the first time, you're ready.
Yeah.
You have to know how to handle, look at the signs on the door and everything about it.
Right.
And being a non-medical personnel is extremely valuable. So I think it's given me empathy, and it makes me, and now that I know what I know, it makes me want to do it even more.
Right.
So the impact is very personal. It's almost a religious thing.
Right.
That you really want to help in general, but now I know specifically how I want to help, whether it's the respite program, visiting people in pre-op, post-op, the cancer ward,
Right.
or wherever, or the No One Dies Alone program,
Yes.
where people are on their last few days.
Right.
It's even more passionate now that I've seen both sides of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just incredible. And you're both of you are special people to be able to do that, to give of yourself. Because, I give in other ways, that would not be one of my ways, to give. But you're both very special. And I know when people are in the hospital, they're scared to death.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and for somebody just to come in and say hello
Yes.
is a beautiful thing. And to give them, a special gift, like a blanket, that they can wrap themselves in.
It is totally unexpected, and we've had some wonderful experiences with people going, "You mean I can shop in the hospital as a patient?"
Yeah.
It's beautifully unexpected, and the family members appreciate it as much as the patients do. And in some instances, for instance, that first blanket I showed you, this blanket could easily have been made in red, white, and blue and then offered to one of the veterans.
Right.
We do the fleece, but the crafters also crochet and knit them.
Right.
And one of the Afghans we gave out took on almost the meaning of the American flag to that family.
Really? Wow.
This was the last thing to touch the wife's husband as he
Yeah.
was passing. And she sleeps with it every night.
Every night. Wow. Wow.
So not only does it provide her comfort,
Right.
but she feels his nearness.
Right.
And it was red, white, and blue
Oh, right.
because he was a
Yes,
veteran. He was a World War II vet.
Wow. That's really something.
Yeah.
Joan, how has the program grown?
Thank you for asking. This is a big one.
Okay.
And we have been keeping very close statistics on the program, how many blankets we give out, how many things are made, how many hours the crafters give us. And since March of '08, when we started keeping these statistics to the end of 2015, the crafters have contributed making these items 254,000
Oh
hours.
my goodness.
Making 9,684 Afghans, shawls and blankets and
Oh my
quilts.
God. Oh my goodness.
And over 54,000 other items of comfort, such as hair loss caps, something we call a bedside pocket pouch, which attaches with Velcro to the bed rail.
Right.
And your glasses, your cell phone, the nurse's call button can all be very close at hand.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of the most popular items, as well as the neck rolls.
Bless. Yeah.
And we offer them to the patients all as gifts. These are all
Right.
given. Again, the community is so generous.
Right.
Schools participate, church groups
Oh my
participate,
goodness.
Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies
That's
and
good. Yeah.
Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts.
Brownies
and Girl Scouts.
Right.
I got them all.
Right.
4-H groups, yeah.
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing for the children to do, to help them learn how to give back, even if they're never going to meet that person.
Right,
They
exactly.
can still be generous and give
Right.
of their time.
It reminds me, I went through a phase of knitting.
Oh.
And every one of my daughters and my granddaughter have scarves. And my grandsons, they all have scarves. And after a while, you know, I stopped knitting and they said to me, oh, I'm going to stop knitting. Because I have a lot of scarves in my house.
Well-
But what a great thing to, like, I know some people, they find knitting and crocheting very relaxing, and that they can do this and then give it to somebody. That's
Well, and you mentioned that. And we have crafters of all ages. We've had little 3- and 5-year-olds who are part of a Sunday school group who were making these little teddies about this big, and their little fingers were perfect for putting the stuffing in the teddies.
Oh my God.
But
yeah.
they were learning about how to show God's love
right.
in
Yeah,
a way that they could do.
Yes.
And we have just lost one of our
Okay.
94-year-old
Oh my God.
crocheters
Oh,
who
look at
has
that,
been
beautiful.
making these beautiful,
Oh.
beautiful sweaters
Oh, how beautiful.
and little caps to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, unfortunately, we just lost her in December.
Oh, I'm sad.
And we had a
Yeah.
100-year-old crafter who passed away several years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever your age, there's something that you can do.
Right.
And one of the things that Bob was mentioning was that there are so many different kinds of opportunities to volunteer at St. Mary.
Right, yeah, that's right.
So it can be with patient contact, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
We have greeters in the front lobby who wear a smile and make you feel welcome the minute you
Right.
walk in the door. And
Uh-huh.
then navigators who will help take you to an appointment or to a room,
Yeah.
help get you where you need to go,
go,
because the
right.
hospital's a big place and it's
Yes.
confusing.
Right, yes,
And you may be late for an appointment and need to
Right.
get there very quickly.
right.
There are clerical positions. We have shuttle drivers. You do
Okay.
not have to pay for parking. It's a
Oh.
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We paid so much for parking in Houston for my
Yes.
father-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a
yeah,
beautiful
mhm.
gift that the community
Right,
gives
right.
back and provides.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, we're almost out of time.
Oh,
Can you
no.
believe this?
It goes so fast.
Can you give us the information
yes.
of how we can contact you if we
Yes.
want to volunteer our services?
Yes. So the website is www.stmaryhealthcare.org. And if you'd like to volunteer, that will take you to the homepage.
Okay.
If you scroll down to the bottom left,
Right.
volunteer is listed as one of the connections. You click on that.
Right.
That will take you to the volunteer page, and then you can read about adult volunteering, volunteering, pre-med. We have all kinds of positions available.
Okay.
As a volunteer, you do have to be at least 16 years old.
Okay.
But we take on 250 volunteers in the summer.
Oh my goodness.
When many of our regular volunteers take off and go vacationing. So
Right. Yes.
that works out both ways. And
That's
for,
right.
for young people who are interested in a medical career, it gives them hands-on with, is this an environment I want to be in?
Right.
Can I handle this?
Right.
And they are all over the hospital doing all kinds of jobs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
My daughters were, oh my God, it just went out of my head. They volunteered as teenagers, and they had the stripe.
Candy stripers?
Candy
Yeah.
Candy
stripers.
stripers, yes.
Right, right.
Now they have red polos.
Oh.
So
oh.
anybody who wants to volunteer, you don't have to look ridiculous.
Oh, all right.
In fact, you look a little bit like Bob. It's
Oh,
a
that's
bright
right.
red polo and khaki pants, long
Okay,
pants. That's
very
it.
good.
That's
Very
very
good.
acceptable.
Okay.
And they really do enjoy it, and they do
Yeah.
a great job for
Yeah,
us.
right. Yeah.
And the phone number to connect with the volunteer
yeah.
office directly is 215-710-2190.
Okay.
And
Thank
that
you.
will get you right to the office.
All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure.
Oh, it really has. And thank you for joining us. And I just feel that it's so inspiring having you both here and that you're doing such great work. And if any of you would like to volunteer, here's your opportunity.
That's right.
So thanks for joining us
We'd
today.
love to have you. Yeah.
Thank you.